taking a look at hubad, a Filipino exercise, sensitivity drill for trapping range. Hubad means to tie and untie. Our next set of exercises I like to share with you are what I call joint lock flow. There's lots of different locks in the Kenpo system. The lock flow, or the joint lock flow, is an easy way to teach and remember certain locks in an order. You're not going to fight this way. You're not going to throw somebody around doing 15, 20, whatever different locks. It's not going to happen that way. During your elbow, your hand, all of a sudden you found something. And, whoa, there was a lock right there. You find locks. You don't look for them. You can look for them more when you're on the ground in a prone position. You can work and dig and strain and fight and find some different locks. Standing up striking arts, through the impact and explosion and spontaneity, you're going to find them. Don't look for them. Don't make them happen. They're just going to be there for you. By doing the lock flow drill, it's similar to hubad, where you're listening to your opponent's intent in hubad, and now you're listening to your opponent's positioning. Oh, look at this wrist. Maybe it could bend that way. By familiarizing yourself with the joint lock flow, once you make contact with your opponent's limbs, you're going to find very familiar positions, the stimulation of where you are on their arm, shoulder, wrist, whatever. It's going to immediately trigger where you should go with the joint lock manipulation. So it's about 14 locks on one side. If we do it on the other side, there's 14, right side, left side. There's some transitional there. There's some transitions there. There's about 27 when you put it all together. We missed some pieces. Whatever the number is, let's go ahead and start with our joint lock flow. Jeremy's going to give me a right punch. We're going to face each other in a neutral position. So those of you who are instructors, or those of you who have a training partner, I suggest you start like we're presenting it here. Neutral position, outside of hitting range, stepping in. From here, Jeremy's going to give me a right punch right towards my nose. Start slow. Your opponent and or your partner, go ahead and relax. Be soft. Just kind of be loose, because these are joint locks. A locked joint can be a broken joint. If nothing else, it's going to be a very painful one. So you want to communicate with your partner. We tap sometimes. You can do it once, 10 times, tap your foot, tap your head on their head, whatever you want to do. So get used to tapping. That's a way of communicating. It's instant. If the pain's too great, tap. Safety comes first with your training partner, so you can do it again tomorrow. Jeremy gives me a right punch. I hook and I grab the shoulder. This is like a shoulder lock. Notice my elbow said hi to his face. In joint lock manipulation, this thing I used to start calling about 15 years ago, it was destruct control. You need to smash them, loosen them up. Either their head, their face, their body, whatever. You've got to jack them a little bit, then it's a lot easier to grab a joint. So I call it destruct control. So what's happening when he gives me a punch, it's coming at me. This is my saying howdy. This is my destruct. This is my control. Now where am I going to go from here? There's a lot of different variables. We may get into those later. What I'm doing is teaching you a lock flow. From here, I come right down. My left hand grabs his right hand with my thumb on the back of his hand, right here. I come around with a little loop. If I want, I can come right across towards his face, and this is a takedown. We will show him individually later how they can work. The first two locks, from a neutral position, he gives me a punch, I hook, say hi, come into here. Control this elbow so it doesn't fly up and hit me, come down, grab the outside of his hand. This is a lock or a takedown. Those of you who have done some Filipino martial arts or weapon manipulation, a lot of these locks are also disarms. You'll want to let go of your blade or your stick. Make a fist, please. That's going to loosen up and you're going to pop it hard. The stick will fall. Open up your hand for the lock flow. I'm just going to grab fingers. If you get two, you got two. Let's grab them all. I'm putting my hand right over the top. I'm just going to hit him in the face a little bit with his own hands. Bang. And come around, read his palm, and get him up. I'm stepping on his foot here just to lock his position. So in a sense, by trapping his foot, but locking his fingers. It's similar to a double lock going on. We have a trap and a lock. Trap is what we introduced in hubad, trapping range. Well, we're also trapping the foot. What you can do upper art, you can do lower art. Some of these locks, you'll notice as you go through them, they're momentary openings, just windows of opportunity to come down the center and do something to them. It's like, whoa, there they are. There's a finger to the eyes. The whole thing is over. Other joint locks, it's pain compliance and time to negotiate. You can put them in a locked position and hold them there. All right, let's continue our joint lock manipulation right from the top. Jeremy, from a neutral position, is going to give me the right punch. Incidentally, a couple pieces of information for you. You can certainly start this on the left side. We would want you to do that eventually. A little more explanation of what I'm doing. As he's coming at me here, I'm doing a parry, very similar to the hubud. I'm hitting down here, which, by the way, this is going to come right off of hubud. We'll get to that in a little bit. So I'm coming in with an open hand parry, relaxed, and its centrifugal force is coming around right to here. My arm gets them whipped, and then I just suck them in. As I go to grab, that's when I give the elbow. So my entry, you could also do an inward block and do it. If you had a knife in your hand, you could come right around and stick this in him. There's many different ways you can do this. If you gave me a right punch, I could do a double parry and come around to here. You'll do it the way you enter on your techniques and your counters. As a reference point, I'm using an open hand. So we've already done 3 joint locks. Let's go on to number 4. Jeremy gives me a right punch. I hook, say high with the elbow, lock him in. Support the elbow here, come around. This will be a throw. Grabbing his fingers. This is that window of opportunity I'm talking about. I can come in and attack, check kick him, tackle him, whatever. This does not feel good. From here, I'm going to come up, grab, take the wrist, flex it back, step back to my right with my right foot in a hard bow, and taking him down to here. That would be the joint number 4. Because it's a lock flow, I am not throwing him and taking him down to the full extent of the joint lock, so we can keep it going. Remember, this is for memory, for flow, to find, to be spontaneous. You can start moving around, a bit of a primal dance, as it were. So I'm not taking him down all the way. Individually, of course, you could do that. You can do anything you want, but to keep the flow, keep him standing. Slow and relaxed. We'll go through 4 and then lock number 5. Gives me a right punch. I hook, I enter, say hi, lock right here. Come down here, my hand drops, follows, grabbing the back of his hand. I can step, keep this tight to me. If you were to give me a left punch from here, put your hand out there, okay, pull it back, give me a punch again. This takes that punch, it takes the power away because he's falling. If I were to step and do it hard, give me the punch, well, it's not going to do anything, I'm just going to take him and throw him the hell out of here. So that's what I meant by you can do it individually, but we're keeping the flow going. Once again, from the top. Enters with the right punch. 1, 2, 3, 4. From here, I'm going into my variation of what we call a gooseneck. Hands already there, grabbing the thumb, monitoring the elbow. I'm going to spin Jeremy around. You can see what I do with him, and then you can have a better view of the final lock. From here, I'm going to come right into here and bring him right around. This is what I call the gooseneck. What I do is I grab the thumb as well. It's a little more difficult for him to get out of it. Watch him tap and get on his toes. Right there, that's the pressure. He didn't get on his toes. There you go. That's a lot of pressure. You could break a wrist. That's our lock number 5. From this angle, he gives me a right punch. 1, 2, grab, 3, 4. Yes, there's a kick here. Yes, there's a knee here. Monitor. If I don't monitor, I could eat this. I'm doing an elliptical motion here to come around, gathering up his wrist, This is the pain compliance right here. Tap with your partner so you don't get injured. Pain can be healthy when there's no injury. It'll toughen you up physically and just mentally. You get used to it. At first you just, oh, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. You actually get flexible in your wrists, and you put up with more pain. As my daughter would say, pain is just like taste. It's another sense. From here, I take my right hand, grabbing his wrist. I still have a hold of him here. Some of these locks, they can be done individually. They can be done in a confluence or our lock flow, which we've been talking about. And you can put 2 or 3 together as you will. So from here, I'm going to corner grab, step right down, and go into an arm bar. My left hand comes close to the breast. I put pressure, pull. This is a very common arm bar. Hand can be open or closed. From the arm bar, we're going to go into what we call a figure 4. There actually is arm positions that you can see, the number 4. Sometimes a person will go ahead and turn his palm up, rotating clockwise to counter this. Go ahead and turn, please. That just allows me to say, okay, well, let's go another direction then. There is your figure 4. From here, this is the lock flow for memory, to listen to your opponent's intent, to find these things, to have spontaneity and flow, but you may just want to take a person down right here and then rock them and just come right around and take them down. That's what this lock flow enables you to do.